Hey, it's Dave down home. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Talk Soccer. And in this episode, in this video, I want to talk about the Confederation Cup semifinals. The two matches, first game between Portugal and Chile, and of course the Mexico-Germany match. I want to start with the Mexico-Germany match. That was the second of the semifinals. And it was a 4-1 Germany win, but it really came down to, in my estimation, as we break this game down, that first half. The first half was everything. And of course, Leon Goretzka getting the two early goals changed everything. But I do want to tell you about three key people who were involved in this match. Two players, and I'll start with the first person I want to talk about, the coach of Germany, the manager of Germany, Jogi Löw, who you really have to start assuming is the best manager in the world, quite possibly. I know people like to throw around Jose Mourinho, and certainly he's a great manager, no doubt about it. There's plenty of other fantastic managers around the world, but we maybe have overlooked Löw as the manager of Germany and what he's done. And yeah, how can you win a World Cup and still be underrated? But if there's one guy who might be underrated in the world of football, it's the manager of Germany. And the job he did setting this team up against Mexico going into this semifinal was so impressive. Can't take anything away from the German players. They had to perform. They had to actually go out and do it on the pitch. And this is a young Germany team, which everybody's been talking about. And they did a masterful job in this game. They played a fantastic match. The way Löw set this team up, though, he set them up for success. And I looked at a couple of key areas in those first 15 minutes. He basically told his team to go out and out Mexico El Tri with high pressure, in-your-face kind of football, fouls, hard tackles right from the jump, which is what Mexico likes to do to teams, right? When we see Mexico come out against a team they feel they can beat, they're right at their throats from the first minute. Well, Germany turned that right around on El Tri, and it worked to perfection. They absolutely stomped out Javier Aquino in that first half. Aquino did nothing, and it wasn't his fault. It wasn't like he had a bad match. He never saw the ball. And it was because Germany would not give him the space. Aquino on that wing was killing teams throughout this tournament. And Juan Carlos Osorio had to go with him to start this match. I thought Juan Carlos Osorio's lineup was actually very good. It's just that Jogi Löw was ready for it. And he absolutely stifled Mexico's offense from the first whistle. And what that did was it gave Germany confidence going forward. It overwhelmed Mexico's midfield, right? They had no time on the ball. They really couldn't get anything going. I actually started to see Gio Dos Santos, the Galaxy forward / playmaker, if you will. He really started doing a much better job at about minute 20, coming back, getting into space. And I thought Gio Dos Santos was the best player on the Mexican team. Now, who cares, right? They lost 4-1. Doesn't really matter who was the best player in Mexico's team. They had one guy who had a pretty good match, and that was Dos Santos. But realistically, this was all Germany. Leon Goretzka, the second guy I want to mention in this match. Goretzka is a fantastic young player, but more than that, he's just a fantastic player. He plays like he's 35 years old already. He's so experienced and looks it on the pitch. Those two goals, magnificent goals, right? The first one was incredible to finish, and a great setup certainly on the counterattack. And it brings me to the third guy. That Goretzka first goal is all, in my estimation, on the back of Hector Moreno, the central defender for Mexico, who is, to me, so out of his element at this level. I don't know what people see in this guy. I'm sorry, not sorry. He is not good enough to play for El Tri in the center of defense. Their central defense, it was a joke in this match. And every time I see Mexico struggle defensively, it seems like it's Hector Moreno that I'm looking at. And he's just not good enough. The guy is not at this level. I don't know what people are seeing. Maybe he's much better for his club. Consistently, I don't see that consistency out of him in the green shirt. He just fell apart in this match. Now, he's not the only one to blame. I'm just not sitting here telling you it's all his fault. But man, he was overmatched from the opening whistle. His horrific header got the break going on the Goretzka goal to start. He was a mess on the second goal just a couple of minutes later when Mexico was still, basically everybody was a mess right then, and they just absolutely lost that match in the first 8 minutes. It was over, and Germany could take those two goals and do exactly what Germany wanted to do to stifle Mexico's offense. Now, kudos to El Tri. They never give up. They had a lot of chances, realistically, and you knew they were going to get a lot of the ball once Germany got that early lead, and they were going to be willing to let Mexico come and try to press them so they could counterattack again, take the air out of the ball a little bit. And Mexico had their chances. It really came down to Germany was just so much sharper in front of goal, right? I mean, if you look at the chances that Mexico had, they finished a couple of those, especially in the first half. Chicharito missed a couple of chances. Gio Dos Santos had a couple of half chances and set up Chicharito with a brilliant ball right at the end of the first half. I mean, you score there, it changes everything. That third goal of any match is always going to be key, and Germany just would not let Mexico back into it with that third goal that would have really tightened things up at halftime, and it would have allowed Juan Carlos Osorio maybe to think through a little bit further. He had to take out Aquino. I thought it was a good move. I know a lot of people didn't agree with that, but he had to substitute out Aquino, who was a fine player. He was just not involved in this match at all because Germany purposely took him away offensively. So look, Germany deserved it. They move on to the final. They'll be playing Chile, one of the top teams in the world right now. Is anybody better than Chile right now, than maybe Germany? I mean, Chile is on fire, a couple of Copa Americas. Now they're in another final, and Pizzi's got them playing great. This team is loaded with talent. Don't tell me Portugal deserved that game. It was 0-0. Chile had the better of the chances. Portugal was trying to do Portugal things, which is what they do. That's how they won the Euros, right? They play for the 0-0, hope you nick a goal through Cristiano Ronaldo, and you move on 1-0 if you're lucky. And we don't mind extra time if you're Portugal. They love to play that way. Chile would not break. And so much of this game comes down to Claudio Bravo. He gets a lot of grief. I know he's sometimes erratic. The problem with Claudio Bravo is he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world when he's on. And maybe the best when he's on. And we saw that in this match. But if he's not on, which is far too often, he makes a lot of mistakes. So Chile's going to have to be very wary defensively against this German side. And what should be a magnificent final. I had Mexico winning the tournament. I got to tell you that right off the jump. If you listen to my show on ESPN LA 710, Soccer Weekly, every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, I said Mexico would win this tournament. I did believe they were going to win their group, which would have given them a little bit of an easier matchup in that next round. Instead of having to play Germany coming out of that group, they would have faced Chile. Thought it would have been a little bit better. Mexico would have had a little revenge on their mind at that point, but instead they have to end up playing Germany because they couldn't win their group, and then of course the rest is history, and now we'll see the final with Germany and Chile. Should be a really good one. Once again, don't forget, these videos are going to be coming out regularly here at Talk Soccer. You can follow me on Twitter at Talk Soccer without the space in it. And you can follow us on the show, Soccer Weekly, at ESPN LA 710 and ESPNLosAngeles.com. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next time.